And so, I want to talk about shade. Having spoken about light, I wish to talk about shade and shadow. Light particles act in a particular way. They are luminous. They are a temporary arrangement of intent. And they are, when when created by a spiritual being, by a truly spiritual being, in that being wishes to acknowledge spirituality, wishes to acknowledge angelic purpose and potential, wishes to acknowledge the divine within and without. When those are the intentions of the Spirit creating, then that light has a positive, wonderful effect on creation. It enhances creation, it adds to creation. However, there is a way of creating that considers not the whole, that considers not the spirituality of being, of creation, but considers the self. And in considering the self and saying, I want, I need, I will have, this is for me, I shall have this at the expense of others, then that is a creative act, but that creation emanates out from the heart, not as the luminous acts of creating in positive light, but as a slowing down of vibration. When the self is considered rather than the whole, the light that emanates from the heart becomes polluted because it cannot elevate the soul that is creating that intent. It cannot elevate that intent because that intent is to remain small, remain insular, remain with a possessive attitude, remain selfish rather than selfless. And so, yes, light emanates from the heart because that is the way that each soul creates, and each soul is a spiritual heart. But that light becomes denser. Not at first, but eventually it becomes denser. It has to respond to the wishes of the person sending out the intent. So if the intent is to look after the self, then try as they might, the molecules of light that coalesce around that wish, that intent, try as they might to remain luminous and remain divine in intent, they are pulled down in vibration. Their vibration is slowed. And as their vibration is slowed, they become denser. And if you were to look at such an intent being formed by a person on earth, instead of seeing an inflowing towards the heart of light from around that person, you would see at a distance around that person an inflowing of light. But as that light reaches the heart, touches the aura of the person, it becomes grey. It becomes grey. Its use is distorted. Its purpose is distorted. And yet, because of free will, because of divine intent that we should have free will, the light has to comply to the intent that is streaming out from that spirit's heart. And so it tries its best, whilst remaining divine and remaining uplifting, to also comply with the wishes of the soul that is thinking of self, that is thinking of control, that is thinking of making the earth and its peoples less than they are, spiritually speaking. Now, because there are so many spirits thinking in this way at this time, you have an outpouring into the atmosphere of the earth, the spiritual atmosphere of the earth, an increasing greyness. And that greyness, because it is of a similar vibration to the greyness that is being poured out by the spirits who wish to take control, is attracted to those spirits. And instead of light molecules attempting to uplift the intent of the spirits who are pouring out this selfish and completely self-aware attitude, you have greyness feeding greyness. And so the greyness becomes a darker grey, and the darker grey becomes a black. And you have an intent that is fueled by the similar intent of the souls across the world who do not acknowledge spirituality or their creative source and heart. And that intent becomes a thick crust around them. The light, the lighter molecules, the lighter particles cannot get to them. Only the particles that have already become polluted. And so those souls, through their wish for self-gratification, through their wish to push out any acknowledgement of spirituality, any acknowledgement of divine source, become souls that step from the light into the shadows. And as I said in the first part of this address, the light is sentient. So you have divine light that is sentient in a positive way, and then you have divine light that has been disabled, that has been harmed by the wishes of souls who wish to push out the divine light, but is still active in that it is trying to supply and strengthen the intent of the souls who wish negativity on the rest of the world and positivity for themselves. Having said that, the positive light, the divine light, is always the strongest source. Always the strongest source. And the divine light can be focused as a beam. In your imaginings, in your meditations, you can look at the heart, see the heart of the souls who have stepped into the shadows, and seek to remind them that at heart they are beings of light and not beings of consolidated darker light, if that makes sense. So you can project from your heart, which then becomes an intent, a beam of light that reaches into the heart centers of those souls who are choosing at the moment to walk in the shadows. And you can ask, and it is down to their volition, but you can ask that they be given enough positive light, enough rich illuminance, that they will see that they have stepped into the shadows, and their intent will change. The moment, it's not a gradual affair. The moment that they decide that they, or realize that they are in the shadows, that their thinking is destructive rather than constructive, the light around them changes. Those grey molecules become infused with light. And that light illuminates their aura, illuminates their being, and allows them to see once again their spiritual heritage and to see the damage they are doing and to begin to create positively and to make amends by putting light, as in white light, into the atmosphere of the earth to chase away the temporary shadow that has been created by so many souls refusing to acknowledge the nobler, higher intent of their being here, of their existence here, refusing to acknowledge their connection to all life, refusing to acknowledge that all life is sacred, no life should be harmed, and that they are here to examine positive potential for the good of themselves, for the good of humanity, and for the enhancement of humanity, and for the enhancement of souls beyond this particular area of experience. The light that you send out is more powerful than the shadow that souls have chosen to step into. Why? Because on a level of spiritual physics, if you think about it, you have light that behaves as it is supposed to behave, that is charged with energy, that is charged with noble, loving intent, and then you have particles of light that have become, the best word I can use is crippled in their function by the infusion of the shadow intent that is being sent out by those souls who have lost their way, have stepped off the path, have stepped into the shadows. So if you weigh the two up, I have in one hand this brilliance of divine light, and I have in the other this diminished, contracted, coalesced in a negative way, light, crippled light that cannot function as it is supposed to function. What it needs is an infusion of the positive light. And the positive light is so much more powerful. But that positive light can only be effective once it has reconnected those souls walking in the shadows with their spiritual heritage. Once it has illuminated once again the path that they have stepped off temporarily into the shadows. Once that is done, once that stream of light touches those hearts and those hearts illuminate once again, the constructs that they have made, the negative constructs that they have made, the negative intent that they have poured out into the atmosphere of the earth and towards others becomes infused with positive light again, instantly. And everything changes. You are at a point now, right now, where the positive light, the divine creative light that is within you has never been more urgently needed. Never been more urgently needed. That light is your way out of current difficulties. And I stress to you, there is no other way out. Because the light is your creative tool as the spirit that you actually are. And the light is in harmony with the divine essence that created you, that pushed you forwards into layers of experience to enhance itself and to enhance you and to enhance every other facet of divinity. There is no other way of putting things right here. I tell you, I cannot stress that too highly. You have to infuse the world. You have to infuse each other. You have to infuse this level of consciousness with divine light once again. Once again. I say once again because it was an area of divine intention and potential before so many souls decided to step into the shadows and to misuse their creative gift of light. By stepping into the shadows, you took yourself into this set of circumstances. You have to encourage souls to step out of the shadows and to reinvigorate this area with light. If you do not do this singly and en masse, you will find that the earth, figuratively speaking, is back to the distorted vase. And that is all you will be left with. That is all you will be left with. Because you cannot continuously create with light that has been distorted and robbed of its energy by the wrong intent. You have to draw on the creative power of the levels of creation around you in order to re-infuse this earth with the ability to create positively. Harmony can never be created from the distorted molecules of light that are that exist within a shadow world of semi-spiritual consciousness. So I conclude this address with a warning, because it is a warning. Yes, you must address what is wrong on a physical level, physically. And I'm not talking about violence, I'm talking about speaking up. It is very important that you speak up at this time, but it's also important that you speak up having infused yourself with light. But the physical level is not where all this started. And if you want to know where all this started, you will find on this channel the complete explanation from our soul group of what happened so long ago in the fall. It is there. It is there to listen to. Listen to it. Please listen to it. You have to tackle this current situation on the level at which it began and is being continued. Remember that you are spiritual beings. You are in a shell of flesh, you are in the illusion of flesh, but that's all it is, an illusion. In the same way that I describe the vase and how it is temporary, your body, your physicality is temporary, but you are not. You work, whether you are aware of it or not, as a spiritual being at all times. You create as a spiritual being, whether you're aware of it or not, whether you acknowledge it or not. But in order to put things right here, you have to get back to your spiritual roots, and you have to be selfless enough at this time to join the army of light workers every single day and to stream light into the shadows. I do not wish to have to step back from the earth vibration and to say to my friends, my brothers and sisters, and to say to my God, I am sorry. But they have come to a point where there is such apathy, there is such a reluctance to work with the light, that all that is left is a number of souls sitting around the analogy of a dysfunctional vase and believing that that is all there is.
Well, a strong message. Incredible clarity on how the actual process of sending light works. As I listen to it now, it makes so much sense. And I think hopefully everybody can take it on board. We end up with a warning, and I think we have to take it on board. We have to act with the light. That's the level that PG through Michael is saying. We have to do it. We have to work with it. It's pivotal at this time. We're doing everything we can. We have Michael bringing through the soul group messages. The soul group messages are on YouTube. We have Michael, who's done a course in higher consciousness living. It's all there for free, again on YouTube. We have our meditation group, the World Meditation Alliance, where we can work together as a group, channeling intention of the highest order, again brought through by Michael, and channeling in a way that is so much more powerful than if we do it by ourselves. I do hope you can reflect on this message. I do hope that you can look at the course in higher consciousness living. I do hope you can read the books. I do hope you can get it, that we have to do it. It's up to us. It's our responsibility. And with that, on a lighter note, I say thank you so much for listening in here today. And I do hope you'll continue to work with the light in the way that's suggested. From Michael and from myself, God bless, goodbye. Thank you very much indeed.